Okay, good morning. Let's talk about some more claims by Pavarotti. This time, again, about safe houses and polygraph tests.
What I'm referring to here is in the WITSEC program, what they refer to as alternate measures. And alternate measures are kind of a program in a program. And they're typically used for informants, witnesses, their families, when the threat level is not deemed to be that high. But there still seems to be a threat level that exists. So in precautionary measures, what they will do is take a residence that's not known to anybody, and it's just a simple, different residence than one that they're used to living in.
Whoa, let's stop right there. Not known to anybody? Yeah, they don't want safe houses to be known. So do you think this is really a house that's not known to anybody? Right from Kaylee's sister's mouth, I will say, due to the closeness of the community and due to the safeness of it, I think a lot of people had access to that door. But yes, that door had a keypad code on it. They lived on one of the most iconic streets of being seniors. It's kind of a well-known place.
And with a college town like this, when you have, children of people that may be involved in some things with law enforcement and the criminal underworld, where the threat level could be elevated. So what they will have them do is move into a residence where minimal security measures are taken in that residence. And really what it is, if you want to get right down to it, it's law enforcement's way of making the informants, the witnesses, the people that are involved in the scenario that we're discussing feel a little better that law enforcement is taking additional steps to protect the people that they love.
Except there were literally no steps taken to protect them by law enforcement. It obviously was not a safe house. Let's look at a couple more quotes. A friend of some of the victims revealed to Fox News that many times a main entry door to the home was not normally code locked and that many guests came and went freely. And this was from Xana's father. The door locks with a number code. Every time you go, you have to go around the house because of the number code. So they either knew that or went around and maybe found the slider door open.
Now, when I'm referring to a safe house, and I believe that if it was a safe house, that the university had used this particular property on more than one occasion for these purposes.
Well, no, the university didn't own that property, so the university wouldn't have been using it as a safe house anyway. But again, you don't use a party house in the middle of a crowded neighborhood as a safe house. Also, if they were supposed to be discreet, they were snapping photos all the time. They were taking pictures wherever they were. Everybody knew where they were at. That's not relocating somebody to a undisclosed location for their safety. So to reiterate, safe houses serve as a secure haven for witnesses, offering temporary refuge during critical phases of legal proceedings. The management of safe houses, including their locations, personnel, and operational protocols, is instrumental in maintaining the confidentiality and safety of a relocated witness. For protection purposes, a safe house may not be always a static point, in other words, in a designated location, but any location not generally known as the usual residence of the individual under protection, where the police can monitor and control all access and communication. It can be as simple as an apartment or a hotel room. Now, what a static location, known location would be like a women's shelter. People know where the women's shelters are. Now, if somebody's staying there, you're not supposed to tell anybody they're staying there, but they're a static location. Everybody knows where the shelters are. But when they're relocating someone to like a family member's place or a safe house, those are unknown locations. Like it says, not generally known where the victim would live. Now, all of those girls living in that King Road house had been going to college at University of Idaho for a couple of years. So that was in their known location, basically. They lived in Moscow, except for during summers when they would go home. So putting them in a party house in the same town is not a safe house. And again, it's supposed to be an unknown location, someplace they generally wouldn't live. It was party central. Okay, everybody knew they lived there. And there's also no way law enforcement was going to stick that many protected witnesses all together in one house. I mean, yes, family members, sure, but people that aren't even related, just sticking them all together with friends coming and going all the time, and social media presence all the time. So I'm sorry, if you believe that it was a safe house, you're a few tacos shy of a combo plate. Now let's move on to polygraphs.
A polygraph examination is required of all witness security program candidates who are incarcerated in order to maintain the security of those individuals who are now or will be housed in a BOP protective custody unit.
And you'll see that the requirement was to take the polygraph test, and at the bottom it shows where he finally actually took the polygraph test. As he was sentenced April 17th, though, they finally closed the file on him taking his polygraph test.
So Pav is again talking about Tyson Farley. And this time he's trying to claim that the scheduled polygraph tests as part of his treatment program were for the in-prison witness program. But there's a few problems with what he's saying. Let's start with how that polygraph works for the in-prison program. So Pav shows this in his video, but he doesn't go on to show you this part that says no preliminary interview is conducted by the USMS until the prisoner is between 6 to 9 months from release and is being considered for the full services of the program, including relocation. So that means if they were going to give a polygraph test to Tyson Farley as part of any witness protection program, it wouldn't be done until he was being interviewed to see if he would be part of the program, which would be 6 to 9 months before his release date. It wouldn't be back in March of 2023 when he was being put on probation into a treatment program. You can see in March of 2023, part of the condition of his probation was subject to polygraph tests at his own expense and that he'd have to complete a recommended treatment program. You can see here that treatment program was through Good Samaritan treatment. Now, because Farley violated his probation was revoked and they closed the file on that treatment program and the polygraph test, and he was sentenced to the state penitentiary. So Pav is trying to claim in his video that Farley took the polygraph in April of 2024 and that closed out that polygraph, but that's not the case. We don't even know if he took any of the polygraphs because he never completed his treatment program. And part of the treatment program was to take polygraphs. Now, more and more states are using polygraph tests as part of probation when you're in a treatment program. It started for sex offenders, but now they have increased it to people that use drugs and alcohol. So DUI busts, people that have a lot of drug busts, and people that have been lying to their probation officers, basically. They find it's a way to make sure the person's adhering to their program. Let's take a look. Clear back in 1993, there was a study done on the use of polygraphs as a condition of probation or parole. It says it represents a major tool in community supervision. Then a recent article from this year, the role of polygraph testing in therapeutic settings. Administered by skilled examiners, polygraph tests have been instrumental in verifying the truthfulness of individuals on matters critical to their healing and the well-being of their loved ones. And see, that's through the treatment programs. Applications of polygraph in therapy, drug and alcohol addiction recovery. For clients navigating the challenging path of addiction recovery, polygraph tests can be a powerful testament to their dedication to healing. Whether utilized as a one-time measure or integrated into the recovery process, these tests can offer tangible evidence of the client's commitment to sobriety and personal growth. And this is from the National Association of Drug Court Professionals, talking about how polygraphs are currently being employed in probation supervision. Basically, their recommendations are they don't believe they should be used. And there's also a lot of legal issues have come up with polygraphs, because if somebody doesn't pass it, their parole can be revoked. And a lot of people feel like it's making the person testify against themselves. So there are some legal challenges to them. And there are numerous other articles out there that you can look up that do talk about the use of polygraphs in treatment programs and for probation. Also, one of the things as well is, if you noticed, it said that Farley had to pay for his polygraphs. When you're given a polygraph to go into witness protection, the government pays for that. You do not. So that's another distinction that J.M. Regis glossed over or ignored on purpose. But hopefully this gave you a little more insight. And as usual, let me know if there's anything else you would like me to discuss.